Live from downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News at 5 starts now.
Good evening. We're following breaking news right now. Kern County public health officials saying there has been a measles exposure at a Northwest Bakersfield hotel.
The infected person was in Bakersfield over the 4th of July holiday. Health officials say the person stayed at the DoubleTree Hotel on Camino del Rio Court on Thursday, July 4th and Friday, July 5th. Anyone who visited the DoubleTree Hotel during that time period may have been exposed to the measles. Measles is a highly contagious disease that can be spread through the air when a person sneezes or coughs and can also be spread through direct contact. Health officials say if you were at the hotel during this time, you need to be on the lookout for symptoms.
If between now and July 26th, you that have been at this facility come down with symptoms that would be, coughing, runny nose, and most obvious with the measles, a rash, that you would call your doctor and let them know that you potentially have been exposed and have now come down with the measles.
If you do not show any symptoms beyond July 26th, health officials say you are likely in the clear from the illness. Measles is a disease that can be potentially deadly for those who contract it. Officials say there have been no confirmed cases of the measles in Kern County so far this year.
Our other top story tonight, a man's body was found in Southwest Bakersfield this afternoon in a canal off Truxton Avenue. Bakersfield Fire and Bakersfield police officers called to the area of Truxton Avenue and Empire Drive around 2 o'clock after receiving reports of a person in the water. Originally, officials believed it would be a rescue, but when they got there, they discovered the person was dead. Fire officials tell 23 ABC that they used a raft to recover the man's body, and it appears the man had been in the water for quite some time. The man's identity has not yet been released, but Bakersfield police telling 23 ABC they believe the body does not belong to missing McFarland City Manager John Wooner. And it has now been 8 weeks since Wooner was first reported missing, and Bakersfield police offering a $5,000 reward for information about his disappearance. BPD saying the reward being offered now through secret witness. Wooner was last seen Tuesday, May 14th. Investigators have not confirmed whether foul play is suspected, but they're calling the situation suspicious. Wooner is about 6 feet tall, 300 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Last seen driving a city vehicle, a silver Dodge Durango, which did not have GPS tracking. You can call the secret witness hotline 322-4040 with more information.
We are on day 4 of recovery efforts after back-to-back record-setting earthquakes damaged massive areas in the community of Ridgecrest. Gas lines burst in the 6.4 and 7.1 quakes. Homes and businesses were damaged, and the naval base in China Lake was also heavily hit.
After the earthquakes and thousands of aftershocks, the naval base was deemed to be temporarily non-operational. 23 ABC's Danielle Garrido in China Lake today, getting a first-hand look at all the destruction.
The Naval Air Weapons China Lake Station sits on the 2 faults that shifted last week, causing those 6.4 and 7.1 magnitude earthquakes. But what makes these back-to-back earthquakes unique is that the epicenter of that initial quake happened at the intersection of those 2 faults, causing severe damage to this naval base, a town within a town.
It's a stoppage in time. It's a snapshot in time post 7.1 magnitude earthquake.
An elementary school, a commissary, and a chapel loved by the community, standing still in time as the base jolted after last week's earthquakes.
We're just inside of about 120 hours since the earthquake on the 4th of July. And when that occurred, we went into response mode. We were just coming out of the response mode from that and getting into reconstitution, the phase 2, when we got hit by the 7.1. And it was like starting all over again.
On average, 10,000 people can be seen on the naval base. Today, about 650 people roamed the base looking for destruction since its closure after the initial earthquake.
Typically on a day like today, you would see a lot of traffic on the roads, people going to and from their different activities and duties. Mainly what you see now is construction vehicles, first responder vehicles, security vehicles.
Though few buildings have external damage, you can see cracks on the outside of this chapel, now currently red tagged, making it an unsafe structure.
All the statuary was broken and smashed in pieces, all the religious statuary that's in there.
The altar of the chapel that usually sees about 1,500 people every week in shambles.
It's going to be some source of distress for a lot of people because this is a beloved chapel here on base.
Books on the ground at Richmond Elementary, right next to where students would normally sit on any regular school day, causing pressure to make sure it's safe again for those 500 students to return.
But we must be ready in 6 weeks, one way or another, and we will.
The commissary staff cleaning up aisles for the second time.
We probably would have been able to service customers the next day if the 7.1 had happened. We were well on our way to getting back and operational.
The naval base hopes sharing this destruction will keep them on everyone's mind long after they've assessed all the damage and may need some additional help. In Ridgecrest, Daniela Garrido, 23 ABC News, connecting you.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers tweeting this picture this morning showing crews surveying dams that could have been impacted by the recent ongoing earthquakes. The Sacramento District Office saying there have been no signs of distress and no changes at the Isabella Dam, along with other dams that may have been impacted by the quakes.
Garces High School students and staff are banding together in light of the natural disasters that struck Ridgecrest and other communities by hosting a water drive. Officials with Garces High School say they have been overwhelmed with support from the community and have also received 300 gallons of fresh water from Mercy Hospital. The donation was picked up from the hospital this afternoon. They'll be hosting their water drive through Friday if you'd like to donate. And officials with the Red Cross say they have been receiving numerous water donations from all over the county. And because of that giving spirit, they will no longer be needing water donations. For this reason, 23 ABC will no longer be hosting our water drive and are encouraging people to donate to the Red Cross to help earthquake victims instead. You can find a link on our website, turnto23.com.
And we continue to track the aftershocks from that earthquake that shook the Mojave Desert last week. So the white dots that you are seeing right now, that is nearly 80 aftershocks, earthquakes ranging in magnitudes from 2.5 up to 3.6 today. And we are going to continue to see these over the next several days. But thankfully, as for temperatures across the county, well, they have been staying below seasonal. And that's exactly what we are seeing here in Bakersfield right now, 92 degrees in areas in our desert cities, looking at those temperatures below the triple digits as well. But we are tracking a big warm up on the way. I'll let you know when you can expect that coming up next.
A man shot and killed by Bakersfield police has now been identified by the coroner's office. 36-year-old Anthony James Gonzalez shot by BPD officers around 2 o'clock this morning in the area of Nelson Street and University Avenue. Bakersfield police originally called to that area for reports of a domestic violence situation, though police say they confronted Gonzalez in front of a home when they arrived. That's when the shooting happened. It's not known at this time if Gonzalez fired at police, but BPD says they did recover a gun they believe belonged to Gonzalez. The two officers involved in the shooting were not injured, and they've been placed on routine paid administrative leave.
The former elementary school principal accused of murdering her husband 6 years ago was back in court today, and she's been assigned a new attorney. This is video from a previous court appearance by Leslie Chance. Cameras were not allowed in the courtroom today. She is now being represented by Tony Lidgett after being referred to the county's indigent defense program. Last week, her attorney told the court about a conflict in the case and couldn't represent Chance anymore. A mistrial was declared as a result. Chance was arrested in December 2016 in her husband's 2013 murder. Her trial is tentatively set for October.
Coming up next, if he had a boat, he'd have a hard time here in downtown Bakersfield. Coming up next, we'll tell you about one of the country music stars here in downtown Bakersfield, who they are, how you can still get tickets coming up.
A man has been convicted of murder in Florida, but the penalty phase of his trial continues as the judge and jury decide if the man is mentally stable enough to receive the death penalty. Court TV has been tracking this case. Julie Grant joins us now with the latest details.
A very good day to you. I'm Julie Grant with Court TV, and we continue our gavel-to-gavel coverage of the penalty phase of Florida versus Scott Nelson. The jury could begin their deliberations with this case as early as today. The state resting their rebuttal case today. The attorneys and the judge having a charging conference over the instructions the jury will receive before they go to deliberate. And of course, both sides have the opportunity to give their closing arguments. This is the second closing arguments in this case because we're past the guilt phase, in the penalty phase now. Yesterday, huge moments in the courtroom when Nelson took the stand, testifying again, and he showed absolutely no remorse for his crimes. Take a listen now to what he had to say about himself.
How has your mental health been affected by your previous incarceration?
I am a homicidal maniac.
Nelson's been found guilty of murdering beautiful 56-year-old Jennifer Fulford, a beloved nanny in the Winter Park area, a mother and a grandmother. Again, this is a death penalty case, and the jury will be sequestered during their deliberations. You can count on Court TV for gavel-to-gavel coverage. I'm Julie Grant. Now back to you in the studio.
And to continue following this trial and other cases, you can catch all the action on our air, channel 23.2. Court TV runs 24 hours a day, so you'll be able to get your courtroom fix whenever you want. That's channel 23.2, 24 hours a day.
Back to coverage of our earthquakes here at home. And while the naval base, homes and schools across Ridgecrest were damaged in those quakes, one of the buildings that was hardest hit was their movie theater, which suffered a roof collapse during the shakeup.
23 ABC's Bayon Wing was able to take an inside look at the destruction and joins us now with more.
Tim and Jess, you are not going to believe me right now, but I am inside the movie theater that collapsed after Friday's 7.1 magnitude earthquake. The manager here at the Ridgecrest Cinema is telling me that people are incredibly lucky that the theaters were closed and that nobody was inside, because several people could have potentially lost their lives. You can see behind me, that right here, this is sunlight coming in. This is where people used to be sitting down watching the big screen. Again, the manager is telling me that they are all incredibly lucky.
The roof is the roof caved in on it.
A closed cinema on a Friday night would be devastating for families in most cities. In Ridgecrest, however, it was a blessing in disguise.
They could have got hurt. I mean, obviously, I don't know how bad it could have been.
A 7.1 magnitude earthquake causing no fatalities is a miracle. The roof of a theater in the Ridgecrest Cinemas collapsing after the second quake touched down.
We've suffered a giant loss in our building, but no one got hurt. We had a very minimal amount of people here, so it could have been way worse.
The theater was among several properties state and local officials spoke about at their first Chamber of Commerce meeting since the quake.
The major damage is internal on structures. Because of the fault path that the first quake traveled, our college sustained some major damage that they'll be assessing over the next weeks.
Ridgecrest Police Chief Jed McLaughlin said property assessments are still at the beginning stages, but so far 55 properties have been red tagged and over 500 people are displaced. For Kelly Walden, the centerpiece of the community is one of the biggest losses.
It means a lot. This is the only theater that's here. We've already had several people every day are calling and texting and coming by wanting to know if we're open because they want to come to the movies.
And city inspectors have been in and out of this building all day. The police chief saying that this property has been red tagged, meaning it's no longer safe to occupy. I mean, obviously. And they are also just very appreciative that President Trump signed the emergency declaration so that some funding can be coming into this area. Live in Ridgecrest, Bayon Wing, 23 ABC, connecting you.
Bayon, thanks for that. And we have continuing coverage of the earthquakes on our website, turnto23.com. There we have pictures and videos of the damage, information on recovery efforts, details about being prepared for possible disasters, and more. You can also stay informed through our mobile and tablet app. If you don't have our app, you can download it for free, and you can also stay up to date through our streaming platforms, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Alexa, where we stream all of our newscasts and live reports.
A traffic alert for you tonight. An overnight closure on a major roadway could slow you down while you're going home or heading to work tomorrow. The westbound West Side Parkway on-ramp from Truxtun Avenue will be closed tonight between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. tomorrow, and on Wednesday between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. The West Side Parkway's eastbound off-ramp to Truxtun Avenue is also set to be closed. Both closures are for construction, of course, going on in the area. During the time, Truxtun Avenue will be closed in both directions between the westbound West Side Parkway on-ramp and Commercial Way. Drivers who use those routes highly encouraged to find another way around. And construction crews aren't the only ones who'll be out on the roads tonight. So will Bakersfield Police. BPD in their continued efforts to crack down on drunk driving, holding a DUI checkpoint tonight. That checkpoint will pop up somewhere in town tonight from 6 p.m. until midnight.
He's been churning out country music for more than 30 years, making it to the top of the country Billboard charts, winning several Grammys and touring all over the world. And tonight, Lyle Lovett is coming to Kern County. Lyle Lovett and his large band will take the stage of the Fox Theater tonight. Doors are set to open at 7 and the show starts at 8. Tickets start at just $38 and you can get them online right now or pick them up in person at the Fox Theater box office.
Talking about our weather forecast for tonight, and it's still holding in the comfortable range. Unfortunately, Allison, we know what's to come.
Unfortunately, the triple digits are on the way. That is going to be later this week. But thankfully, we were not seeing that anywhere across Kern County this afternoon. 92 degrees right now here in Bakersfield. So very similar to what we were feeling this time yesterday. But these cooler temperatures are all thanks to our latest low pressure system that's making its way into the Pacific Northwest. That did bring an increase in clouds to the region, but kept those temperatures down. But unfortunately, it will not be lasting long. So we've been tracking this low pressure system slowly making its way onshore, bringing showers to that region today as well as for tomorrow. But we are tracking high pressure that is going to be making its way toward the Four Corners from Texas over the next several days. So this high pressure system is actually pushing that low pressure system out to sea. So that means we are going to be seeing an increase in temperatures as well as those very dry conditions for at least the next week. But thankfully, we are going to be seeing periods of breezy conditions through our mountain passes as well as down into our desert cities. You'll be seeing that this evening, again on Wednesday night and Thursday morning. Some of those wind gusts could be anywhere from 15 up to 30 miles per hour in those areas, and we could be seeing the winds increasing in the western portion of the valley as well. But unfortunately, as these temperatures are going to be warming over the next several days, air quality is going to slightly worsen as well. Today we had an AQI of 80, tomorrow 90, so still technically in the moderate range, but as those triple digits will be making their way, we could be seeing that unhealthy for sensitive groups range in the next few days. But for your backyard forecast tomorrow, we are going to have a high of 97 degrees here in Bakersfield, so definitely warming up. That's actually above seasonal, but that warming trend does begin on Wednesday, continuing throughout the weekend. But just make sure that you are staying hydrated when we do see the triple digits. Take a dip maybe in the pool, as well as taking breaks if you are outside for long periods of time. So let's take a look at these temperatures up to 99 degrees by Thursday. We'll be back to the triple digits starting on Friday, and it is going to be very hot on Saturday and Sunday. A high of 106 does look to be the warmest day of the week. And then as we start next week, still looking into those triple digits, but looks like we could be seeing slight relief as we head into the middle of next week, back to the upper 90s. The Kern River Valley will have a high of 93 degrees tomorrow. Tehachapi and Fraser Park in those 80s, but the Kern River Valley is going to be reaching the triple digits on Saturday. Again, the warmest day of the week, but thankfully, temperatures have been cooling off, especially for everybody that was involved in the earthquakes. They happen to be staying outside. So at least we haven't been feeling the triple digits right now.
Not yet, that's for sure.
All right, Allison, thanks for that. Well, coming up, it's an utterly delicious deal going on tonight, but you need to be dressed in black and white to receive it. We'll tell you what you can do and what you have to wear to score some free food when 23 ABC News at 5 returns.
It's Mike.
And Danielle.
Join us for 23 ABC, first at 4:30.
Details on a musical you and the whole gang will want to head out to.
And I'm Chief Meteorologist Elena Rush, tracking a very strong range of high pressure and what it means for the heat this week on 23 ABC, first at 4:30.
Coming up tonight, the mid-air emergency at Delta flight, pilots radioing an engine out, the crew urging passengers to brace for landing. A horrific scene in broad daylight, the stabbing spree in Seattle, and 11 shark sightings off the East Coast in just 48 hours. Next.
Welcome back. In honor of National Cow Day, Chick-fil-A is encouraging everybody. What was that, Tim?
No.
Oh, okay. Chick-fil-A is encouraging everybody to eat more chicken and are hosting a giveaway for those with a serious love of cows. Chick-fil-A is giving away free food today for anyone who shows up dressed like a cow. You can get whatever item or combo you want if you go into the restaurant in your finest black and white digs. Udders are, of course, optional, but recommended, right? There's only one Chick-fil-A in town, though. It's on the corner of Stockdale and California Avenue in Southwest Bakersfield. The deal lasts tonight until 7 p.m., so you've got about an hour and a half to find your best cow costume, throw it on,
Pro
run
tip,
down there.
Put the kids with you.
That's a good one.
Why
Like
not?
triple up.
There you
if you
go.
got 5 kids, this is your night.
This is your night
Put
to
'em-
shine.
put 'em to
You're
use.
going, honey, I'm cooking tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I got it. But then this is good because then you can rewear it maybe on Halloween.
Yeah.
Why not? Or that's actually a good idea. Any old Halloween costumes you're like never gonna wear that again? I actually know that my parents own 2 cow costumes.
Yeah.
No way.
They're tucked away in a box
That was
somewhere.
Kenzie's first outfit. Was,
Yeah,
was
There
the
you
cow.
go.
There you go.
Tonight,
She's
Tim.
outgrown it. We put a land in it.
Dinner tonight. There we go.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, when we come back, I have one final check of your forecast. Temperatures are heating up later this week.
Welcome back. A nice night before some changes on the way.
Big changes are on the way. We were in the low 90s this afternoon, upper 90s for your Wednesday and Thursday, and then the triple digits will be beginning on Friday. That's all thanks to our latest high pressure system dominating over the 4 corners. So look at this, up to 102 by Friday, 106 on Saturday. Very hot this weekend. Make sure that you are staying hydrated and maybe inside of a pool.
Yes.
It's a dry heat.
Yeah.
Still hot.
Still hot.
Still hot.
Dry hot. All right, that's it for us at 5. World News next. We'll see you.